Hi guys, welcome back to Income Grinders. My name is Eric. This video is going to be about f.i.r.e, which is the sort of movement around getting financially independent and retire early. And I'm going to go through why it's not a good fit for me personally. Might be a good fit for you. I don't like it. I like parts of it. I like the part of being financially independent. The part that I don't like, I will talk to you guys about in this video. The reason why I don't really like f.i.r.e is that my end goal is not to become retired early, even if it's really too late to get it early done because I'm getting close to 50. The end goal with my side hustle is not to become passive and retire. It's all about the freedom of doing what I want on my days within my sort of work. I still want to work, but I just want to be able to control what I work with, more or less. So I'll go through some disadvantages that I see when it comes to f.i.r.e movement in this video. So some risks that I see with choosing the f.i.r.e approach, where you sort of eject from your career and fire yourself, is that in that way, in that scenario, you are choosing to live on saved up money, often at least, that you have put in stocks, most often dividend stocks. And that means that you're very dependent on the actual dividends that these companies are sort of paying out, and those might change at any time. The other thing is that, especially here in Sweden and probably many other countries, you're in risk of having the regulations surrounding taxing on dividends and stock market profits to change to your disadvantage. That's another risk that I see. The other risk is, of course, similar to the dividends, might be halted, like now in Corona. There were many stocks that were not paying out dividends, of course. Is that the actual value of your stocks might sink drastically when you're actually needing them. So that's another risk that I see with relying on saved up money. Another risk is that once you sort of get out of your career and become passive and just do no work, there is a risk that you might, of course, need to come back and start working again. And if you've been out of the loop for a long time, it might become difficult to get your old career up and running. So you might have to struggle to find a job, or you need to take a job that is less interesting or sort of less paying that you've been used to once you were doing your work. Another risk is that even though I studied math, of course, I might calculate wrong, so I might end up with saving up too little money, and that's another risk that might force me to try to get my old job back. So those are the risks that I have identified, and besides these risks, the other part that is sort of not making me want to go to f.i.r.e approach is that I like to work. Instead, I've come up with a different sort of strategy or acronym or whatever. I think I mentioned it many times in the videos before. And the acronym that I'm sort of chasing after is called WIFE, which stands for Work Independent and Financially Empowered. So I'm looking to be work independent, to be able to control if I work, when I work, with what and all that. And I want to be able to reach that sort of status through financially empowerment through my passive income streams. The reason why I prefer this sort of approach or mindset is that I enjoy working and being creative. I like the sort of software development that I'm doing. I like to code and sort of discuss and solve problems around software development, both in the low level in the coding and the sort of a high level in the business level. So that's one thing that is keeping me from sort of pursuing the f.i.r.e approach. I enjoy every new income stream that I sort of find and create and set up. I mean, the latest one I set up is generating about $1 per day. It's like nothing compared to the other ones that I've already set up, but currently I'm most happy about that one. So it's sort of a passion of mine to create these separate income streams, to just see them work and flourish and nurture them to make them grow and generate even more cash flow into my business. It also turns out that I'm actually sort of a social person, even though I never thought so. So I like to have a social network with interesting people to meet, both new and old ones. And with the FIRE approach, I would probably fire myself and become passively and just hang around the house and not meet people anymore. So I don't like that. I also enjoy having cash flow, which I will get and keep if I create online income streams. They generate cash flow. I develop and I own assets which are generating these cash flows. So it's really a nice feeling to have all this set up and being in control of it, and instead of putting all your money in stocks where you're sort of dependent on other companies and their goodwill of paying out dividends, and you're depending on the government and their tax regulations. But here I feel like I have more control, and it's so much easier to generate positive cash flows when you sort of just create this online asset. But of course, all the sort of surplus of cash that I get now, that I'm not sort of needing this money to live off, I invest that in new projects to create new income streams, but I also invest a good portion on the stock market and pay off mortgage and all that kind of stuff to be building a better future for myself and my family when it comes to the financial part. So like I said, the main driver for me is to reach the wife status of being work independent, still working, but the important thing for me is to choose when I work, with what, with whom, and all that surroundings. A very flexible work environment, but still important to note is that I want to work. I like going up to do creative work every day, and by staying in the loop of actually getting up in the morning and being creative and still work with software development in some form, and building these online income streams, and having my social network up and running with people sort of with the same career, it's an added security to have those connections and doing this work. If I were to be forced at some point, if I quit my day job, to go back to my day job, I have my connections, I have my sort of I'm still being productive and producing stuff daytime, probably nighttime also, so it's easier to sort of pick up the phone and get the job again, compared to if you retire and you do nothing related to your previous career. So it's very similar to FIRE, this approach that I call WIFE, without basically the retirement part. So that's my thoughts around FIRE and my rejections, why I don't like it to the 100%. What do you think? Am I totally wrong? Leave me comments, ask me questions, and subscribe if you haven't, and I will keep putting out hopefully somewhat useful content. And have a great day. Bye.